Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. Today we'll be talking about the Chameleon kit from PetSmart. You can see this kit in every single PetSmart. Not only that, it's in like Petco, it's in a ton of places. Tons of people start their chameleons in this kit, and I'm gonna tell you why it's absolutely horrible. Let's get into it, shall we? The thing you're gonna get in this kit is a screen like this. It's a screen cage. It's built out of the exact same stuff that your window screens are built out of, and it's very cheap. The bottom just kind of falls out right there. Overall, honestly, I feel like I could just crush this with my hands. It comes with a heat bulb and a coil UVB bulb. This is one of the main reasons we're gonna get into why this is such a horrible starter kit. It comes with this right here, a vine, one vine only. It comes with this, a thermometer. Honestly, the best thing in this entire kit is this right here. It comes with a fake plant. You could use it, it's not the worst. It comes with reptile carpet. Honestly, I don't even know why it comes with this, because most of the time the veiled chameleons spend their times up in the the trees and stuff like that. And then it comes with one of these Zoo Med double dome right here heat lamps. So we're gonna just go ahead and get right into this. This is the biggest problem with this kit, is this UVB bulb right here. This bulb is so weak that your veiled chameleon is not going to get the UVB it needs, and it's going to lead it to metabolic bone disease and so much more. So much issues with these bulbs on the market. I don't know why these starter kits are sold with them. And don't worry, I'm going to show you everything you need to fix everything in this video, but I'm going to explain why everything is horrible starting off. Next up, heat bulb, 60 watts, daylight blue. This will work. I prefer the regular halogens, like the orange glow halogens, which I'll have a recommendation for you in this video as well. But anyways, it comes with only one of these right here, just one. This tiny little vine right here. This is one of the major issues with this kit right here, because you have a vine and you have tree branches. And if you put this inside of the tank, it's pretty much useless. Why is that? It's because you just have one vine in a giant empty tank. I mean, it's just gonna look like that. It's horrible. And why is it horrible? Let me explain. So all lizards like to pretty much hide from predators. They don't want to be out in the open. They don't want to feel like they're exposed to predators to come and get them. One of the top predators for lizards and for any reptile is birds. They don't want to be seen by birds. So they usually choose a tree or a location that's very cluttered. They usually go there. If you find veiled chameleons in the wild, they're usually in trees with tons of branches all around them. Even in Florida, they're high up in trees with branches with leaves all around. They blend in very good. A baby veiled chameleon does not want to be in a tank that's completely empty with just one branch in it. It literally looks like a rotisserie chicken on a stick getting cooked. That's what its mind's at. So they'll freak out, they'll stress out hardcore, and they usually get ill and they die. And mainly they get ill because you're not providing them UVB, because you don't know that, and it's okay, understandable. Tons of people don't know this, but I'm telling you right now, they only have this and this for cover, because most people get this and not know. They think the starter kit is good. They're like, okay, this is a starter kit, I'm ready to go. I just put this, throw it in there, I'm good to go. And you might even know inside your heart, like, this doesn't feel like it's enough. And you are, because you need so much clutter, so much sticks in here. I actually have my veiled chameleon right next to me, and she's looking at this in disgust. This right here needs branches everywhere in here. It needs to mimic like a small bush, a tree. That's what it needs to mimic, and one of these is not gonna do that. So I know I threw a lot at you, and you're probably like, how do I fix it? Trust me, I'm gonna show you. Now, out of all of this, you could go ahead and just get this right here, and you can throw it to the side, because we're not gonna use that. This UVB right here, go ahead and throw that to the side. We're not gonna use that either. You are gonna be able to use pretty much the other things. Like, you could use this is okay. You could use the heat bulb if you want to. It is low wattage, but I prefer a 50 watt. However, that'll work. You could use this, and you could use these two. But we need to add so much more to this. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to set up a veiled chameleon tank for a baby. Now, starting off, it is very important to remember that you can't have your veiled chameleon get too close to the heat or UVB lamp. Doing so can overheat your veiled chameleon or expose your veiled chameleon to dangerously high levels of UVB. I recommend 6 inches minimum from the back of the veiled chameleon to the UVB or heat lamp. As you can see right here, my little test thing, I had it 7 inches away, and I'm gonna have it about 7 inches away in the setup as well. Now, you are gonna have to have some way of securing the sticks to the screen enclosure, and I do this with floral wire, or you could use some fishing line. You could buy any kind of fishing line. I have some fishing line right here that I got on clearance. It was like $4 or something like that. You could use fishing line if you're too afraid that the floral wire will cut your veiled chameleon, but I've used floral wire and it's perfectly safe. Now, there are many things you could use for your veiled chameleon to climb on. There was a bush in my backyard. I just went out there and just cut off tons of tree limbs from that bush. You can see it right here, it's just tons of little limbs, but you could also use bamboo sticks like this right here. Or you can use vines like the Exoterra vines, the Flukers vines. I have that linked down in the description on my Amazon storefront if you want to check that out. But vines like the Flukers one, there's only $5. You could get like 5 or 7 of them and just put them all over the enclosure, and it looks pretty awesome. But for this build, I just went for natural free tree limbs from out on my backyard. As you can tell, I use this little hedge clipper right here I got at Home Depot to cut them up to size. But you do want your stuff anchored very well, and that's where the fishing line comes into play. A lot of times I like to put stuff along the sides and the back of the screen mesh. You can do a vine. Right here, I just cut up little pieces of tree limb. I did kind of cut it the largest pieces, which I shouldn't have done. I really wish I didn't cut large pieces of stick to put along the sides and the back. I should have done littler pieces, but I wasn't thinking. I was just going with the flow, and you could put little pieces along the side. And the reason I do this is so that way I can anchor stuff to those pieces in other parts of the enclosure, because sometimes when you try to anchor stuff to the enclosure just on the screen itself, the screen's pretty weak and it just doesn't line up good. But I like to do this. You don't have to do this. You can just anchor stuff to the screen itself. And for this enclosure, I use the floral wire. Like I said, that's my favorite because it's easy just to put through there, tie it into place, and you're good to go. And I usually use 3 pieces of floral wire just to kind of like make sure it's really anchored into place, as you can see right here. And then I repeat this process for both sides. You can do the back as well. Again, this is just for extra anchoring for the tree limbs inside of the tank. If you're able to do good anchoring of the tree limbs inside of the tank without these, by all means, do it that way. After that, you can just cut up pieces of stick and just throw them all in there and try to mimic like a little tree or a little bush, as you can see what I'm doing right here. I'd also try to make a little basking branch. This is very important. You want kind of like a branch to go across right under the light, so that way it can sit, your veiled chameleon can sit there and absorb the heat and the UVB. So that's what I'm doing right here, just kind of making like one branch that is directly under there, that way it can cross and go under. And it's a good way. You can measure the basking branch with a thermometer, make sure it's not too hot. If it's like 180 degrees, that means your wattage is pretty hardcore and it's way too close. You might have to lower your wattage so that way you don't overheat your veiled chameleon. Now, I pretty much put this in a time lapse because I sat there forever trying to figure out how I'm going to decorate this enclosure, how it's going to look. I tried to make it look like a bush. Like I said, I wanted it to make it look like a little tree or like a bush or something like that. I am terrible at decorating, and this is my best go at it. So if it doesn't come out awesome, that's just my sense of decor. Other people are really good at decorating their enclosures, and I love it. If you want to join my Discord and show me a picture of how you decorate your enclosure, I would really love that because I love seeing how you decorate your enclosures. But anyways, this is how I decorated put all of my sticks into the enclosure. I even used a little branch that Zoomid gave me, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't really like it, but I wanted to show you something. This is Yaya, my female veiled chameleon. I put her in here, and I'm gonna show you. Usually veiled chameleons, when they're happy, they're green. And even with all the sticks in this enclosure, she starts to turn brown because for her, she feels exposed. She doesn't like it. She wants more things covering her to make her feel less exposed. And right here, you can see she's actually turning brown. She is not happy with this enclosure. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add a bunch of leaves to this enclosure, and these are Flukers leaves. You can get them on Amazon. I think it was like $5. It was really cheap. It's just floral leaves. I have it linked down on my Amazon storefront as well, and I just put them all over the enclosure to give it the sense of like a tree or a bush. And this is the finished product with the vines added in on the inside. Like I said, I'm not the best decorator, but to me, it looks a lot better, and it doesn't matter because now it has lots of foliage, and if you put a veiled chameleon in here, they're gonna feel very good. They're not gonna feel like they're in the open. They're gonna have all the leaves and stuff kind of hiding them, and they're gonna feel happy. And when they feel happy, they turn green, not brown, like how Yaya was before. I went ahead and just threw the thermometer in to make sure it doesn't get too hot inside the enclosure. As long as it's like below 85, your veiled chameleon will be happy. Now it comes to the lighting, the most important thing for your veiled chameleon. For lighting, I'm going to be using this LED daylight bulb for brightness inside of the enclosure. And if you want to grow plants, you can grow plants with this basic household bulb. I'm telling you, I grow all my plants with this basic household bulb. It does wonders. You don't need a grow light. You don't need any of that. A basic LED, make sure it's daylight, bulb will grow your plants. But for this enclosure, I'm going to use it to brighten the tank up. For UVB, I'm going to be using this Zoomid 14-inch 5.0 T5. This is very important. This is a good UVB that will provide tons of UVB and the perfect amount for your veiled chameleon at 7 inches away. You could also use the Arcadia 6% for this as well. And for heat, since my house is a little bit hotter, it's like 72 to 76 degrees, I'm gonna use a 50-watt heat bulb. If your house is a little bit colder, it's like 68 to 72 degrees, you could use a 75 heat watt bulb. I don't know why I said heat watt, but you could use a 75-watt bulb for your enclosure. And this is how I set up the lights. I just put the Zoo Med heat bulb in one side, the daylight light in the other, and then I placed them alongside the UVB inside the cage, close to the basking stick. And this is how you properly set up a veiled chameleon enclosure, so that way they don't get stressed, they get the beneficial UVB that they need, so that way they can process calcium and absorb the vitamins. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.